Ducks Unlimited Television is presented by Drake Waterfowl Systems, innovators in waterfowl hunting, in association with Mossberg Firearms. Built rugged, proudly American.
We're going to close another season of original episodes of Ducks Unlimited Television with an editor's best of show that includes duck shooting highlights from our adventures in Nebraska, Canada, Missouri, and Idaho. If it looks like we had a blast bringing you DUTV, then we've succeeded. Thanks for your part in making DUTV among the most watched waterfowl series in the world.
We're going to do a public lands hunt. We'll be hunting on the Verona property. It's open to the public, so if anybody else shows up, they'll be hunting with us. But we hope to have a good shoot on the Verona complex, and we'll see what the day brings.
Got one up. Teal?
Yeah.
Ready?
Oh, good shot.
Yeah.
This is the third morning of our hunt. Unbelievably, the wind has died. This is the first time since we've been in Nebraska that we've had no breeze. We're on the Verona complex. This marsh in front of us is a really good example of what Ducks Unlimited is doing here to maintain the wetlands in this rainwater basin. We've seen a few birds. We've just had one come over the decoys and knocked him down. I think we have good prospects, but every day is a different day. We'll just see what happens.
The Verona complex is 1,000 acres owned by Ducks Unlimited. There's also 160 acres owned by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. That's the Verona WPA. This is one of the largest contiguous blocks of habitat in the rainwater basin. Another thing that's special about Verona is that they're mostly seasonal wetlands, where most of the other public properties are semi-permanent marshes. They're wet more often. The wetlands at Verona are more seasonal. They dry up during the growing season. That allows those annual plants to germinate, and they're just more productive than a lot of the more permanent wetlands are.
There's two teal right there. Watch them.
Our focus in the rainwater basin is habitat protection. Our revolving lands program is one of the most robust in the nation. Basically, purchase a property that has wetland value. A lot of times the wetlands are degraded. We restore the rainwater basin wetlands on those properties, protection on them through a conservation easement, either one of ours or one of our conservation partners, and resell the property and reinvest in other properties. Also, we help on public lands quite a bit, doing restoration projects and enhancement projects on their land, installing pumps, installing water control structures so that they can better manage their wetlands. Just generally helping out in any way we can with our partners. This state is great for partnerships, and different wildlife organizations all band together to protect this unique landscape.
Shoot that one. All right, boys. That was a pretty flight. They hooked behind us and came in on the right and just started peppering the water out there. And I think we got 3 out of 5, so it's pretty good on team.
Ducks Unlimited Television, presented by Drake Waterfowl Systems, innovators in waterfowl hunting, is also brought to you by Mossy Oak Shadow Grass Blades and Ducks Unlimited's Rescue Our Wetlands campaign, banding together for waterfowl.
Day one, we hunted out of ground blinds and we hunted a huge field. Day two is a completely different setup. We hunted a really small field and we decided to go with traditional A-frame style blinds.
Never been shot at.
Look at her, just that little trot.
Little short prance. We set the blinds up basically in a low dip, a shallow area. And then we had 2 high rises on both sides. We ran the decoys up on these high ridges, and those are what we wanted to set up as our landing zones. We're hoping that having these blinds down in this lower dip, we were going to be a little bit lower profile, and they should come in with no problems. Oh yeah, left side, left side.
A lot better, a lot better. Those two finished.
Field, you know, I've enjoyed working with him once before. He hasn't changed at all. In fact, if anything, he's got more passionate about doing what he's doing, which is being a part of carrying the message about waterfowl and waterfowl conservation and doing it through a hunting audience. But boy, he's committed to the resource and obviously committed to DU and waterfowl conservation.
Oh, here we go. One's coming. They're all coming.
The majority of the geese coming to this field were all honkers. They were big geese. We didn't really see a lot of lessers going in this field, so our setup was going to be completely different. Typically when you hunt lessers, you want to use a lot of decoys and you'll actually pack them in a lot tighter. When you hunt big geese, you want to have larger landing zones and spread the decoys out just a little bit more because they like to have a lot more room to land in.
When Ducks Unlimited was formed nearly 80 years ago, most of the money raised went to Canada for work on the breeding grounds. It didn't take long for waterfowl managers to understand that many wintering habitats needed help too, including the diverse wetlands of Mexico. Many of North America's blue-winged teal and cinnamon teal migrate through Mexico. 85% of the Pacific brant spend the winter there, along with high proportions of pintails and white-fronted geese. And 80% of the redheads winter along the Gulf Coast of the U.S. and Mexico. In 1974, Ducks Unlimited de Mexico was created to protect and conserve important wintering habitats south of the border. Since then, the organization has completed more than 250 conservation projects, encompassing over 1.9 million acres. Biologists in Mexico are also conducting an inventory of the country's wetlands. To date, they have inventoried over 143 million acres and identified 16.5 million acres of wetlands. All of this work will help sustain our waterfowl species through the winter and send them north to the breeding grounds in good shape. To find out more about DU's work in Mexico and how you can help, visit ducks.org.
DU Insights is brought to you by Mossy Oak Properties. Find your favorite place at mossyoakproperties.com. DUTV is powered by Mossberg Firearms, built rugged, proudly American. Mossy Oak Properties, America's land specialist. Skybusters, your digital outdoor solutions company. 3 generations of knowledge passed on to you. And Purina Pro Plan, nutrition that performs.
One of the coolest things about this whole Confluence region here in St. Charles County is the number of duck clubs that are here and the long-standing history of waterfowling in the area. There's been a ton of work done in this area. This Confluence region is very, very important to waterfowl, and you can tell that the landowners as well as many conservation organizations have done a lot of great work in this region. There's waterfowl habitat everywhere. There's flooded fields, there's food, there's rest lakes. It's literally everything that these ducks need to thrive.
This rhyme in.
Well guys, it's our first morning here at the Confluence hunting ducks, and it feels like a waterfowl hunter's day, doesn't it?
Definitely.
It's foggy and rainy and having some great times in the duck blind.
Yeah. We need the rain, it's coming. We should have a good shoot.
Yeah, it seems like the birds are starting to fly now and we're starting to get a little wind, so we're excited to see what the rest of the day's got in store for us. Thank you, boys. There we go. That'll work just like you're supposed to.
This bunch, we pray for bad weather and then stand out in it. Here we are.
I don't know, this is my kind of bad weather.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
No.
In most areas around the country, you want a sunny day with some wind. Here, when we saw the forecast was rainy, the Ruff said, hey, we're excited about it. That's normally a sign of a good duck hunt to come. It was surprising to me to see just how well these birds worked in the rain. As the rain picked up, as the morning went along, we started seeing more and more birds fly, and more birds started working our decoy spread. It was something that's kind of unique to this area of the Confluence.
The retriever's job is to bring back a bird, preferably uneaten, to deliver to hand. Putting a dog on game too early, having them go out and pick birds before they go through hole conditioning far too many times can cause a hard mouth situation, especially if it's a fresh shot kill. Let's take a look at hold. We take a wooden dowel and we teach him that it's very pleasurable to hold. This is not force fetch. This is positive hold conditioning. I'm teaching 2 things: the command, hold, and the release, dead. Doesn't matter what you say, it just matters what he understands the command to mean. This is actually the 3rd session with this dog. If we do this the right way, not use a lot of force, not make him sour on the retrieve, and make hay slowly, this dog will make an excellent retriever.
Duck Dog with Mike Stewart is presented by Purina Pro Plan, nutrition that performs. DUTV is powered by Biologic, scientifically proven wildlife products. Buck Gardner Calls, champion of champions. Native Nurseries, hand-selected, hand-grown plants for wildlife, with closed captioning provided by Honeybreak Lodge. World-class accommodations and wing shooting on the Louisiana Bayou.
All right, guys, I know the weathermen don't always tell the truth, but they can definitely help you start planning your calling techniques in advance. I feel like when you have some precipitation, whether it be freezing rain, snow, or just regular rain, anytime you have that, high wind, or wind and sun, you can definitely call ducks a lot harder than you can on any situation when you have no wind or cloudy with no wind. That's definitely the toughest time. When you're forced to hunt a day that you don't have very much wind or it's a real heavy cloud cover, you know, the ducks are generally flying lower. They can hear these sounds even better, and you know, they're not blocked by any other thing, whether it be the precipitation or the sun. So in that situation, we generally call a lot easier at these ducks and just try to bump them around the corner. Just to give them a little bit, let them know where you're at, and see if you can change your luck this season with that.
Duck Tactics has been presented by Buck Gardner Calls, champion of champions.
You think of Idaho, you think of elk and deer and mountain species, big game. Well, let me tell you something. Idaho is a waterfowler state. Southern part along the Snake River Valley is full of people that enjoy watching ducks and geese, hunting them, and they're also great conservationists. First morning, we launched at a little public launching area, and then we turned and ran upriver about a mile and had some brush cut and pile between trees where we could get set up, cover overhead, just a really good spot.
All right, on the board. All right.
Boy, that's really pretty work. These birds are coming from somewhere upstream and they're just appearing around the bend, and a lot of times they've got their wings set. These birds, about every 5 or 10 minutes, we have another flight that comes along, and the shots are easy. They're right in front, about 20 or 25 yards, so that's the way I like them.
Yeah, baby!
Good job. Mighty fine. I tell you what, they just keep coming, and we keep putting them on the stringer. Golly, this is a fantastic shoot. I'd heard a long time ago about the good hunting in Idaho on the Snake River, and I'm telling you, this is my first day here, and what I saw absolutely confirms it. I'm going to leave here with some really good memories, and I'm going to go away from here thinking about the friendships that I have. I hope to meet them somewhere down the line, and when I do, when I get to see them again, they're going to be old buddies. They're brothers in waterfowl, brothers in conservation. And that's what's good about what this show does, is to inspire people to be good conservationists and to help do their part to promote the heritage and the resource that we all enjoy. The birds and the places and the friendships, and that's just what it's all about, and that's what we've experienced here at Hagerman, Idaho in the Snake River Valley.
That's a wrap on the 2016 original episodes of DUTV. Another great season in the books. To all the crew, the businesses, and the viewers that support our efforts, thank you for making DUTV and Ducks Unlimited a part of your schedule. In closing, please don't forget to visit and watch DUTV and accompanying videos at ducks.org 24/7, 365, where you can join us in our continuing mission for healthy wetlands and growing populations of waterfowl. Meantime, be safe, have fun, God bless, and see you again soon on Ducks Unlimited Television.